Week 10 is behind us. We are now on to week 11 here. So let's get into it. The first move I am making in my Dynasty leagues, I am going out and I am adding Jameis Winston. And yes, I understand they're now heading into a bye week, and we've done this before, right? We did this back in week 4 when Derek Carr also got hurt. We assumed Jameis Winston was going to be the starter the following week. It didn't happen. It may not happen in week 12 when they come out of the bye week. But Derek Carr goes in with a shoulder injury and a concussion, so now he has to deal with two things, right? Two hurdles to get back on the field. And honestly, Jameis looked good. Jameis Winston looked good. He looked fun. I mean, he's a lunatic on the field, right? We all saw the cross field throw that 100% should never be thrown, but Jameis Winston throws it, right? He's a QB2 if Derek Carr misses any time at all. And honestly, I think they should go to Jameis Winston. I really do. He just gives the offense a lot more life, a lot more risk as well, but a lot more life, which is what they desperately need, right? They need juice in that offense. And Jameis Winston, like I said, he's a lunatic, but he brings juice. So if he's sitting out there on waivers, and he is in about 70% of leagues, go scoop him up. He is a viable QB2 in your Superflex leagues. Move number 2, we are adding Ty Chandler. And Ty Chandler is not widely available, right? He's available in roughly 40% of leagues. But if you're in one of those leagues, Ty Chandler needs to be rostered. We talked about him obviously early in the season prior to the Cam Akers trade, and now he's back to being potentially a focal point in this offense. Alexander Mattison leaves with a concussion, but even before that, Ty Chandler was the 1A here, which is shocking because they decided to go away from him when they traded for Cam Akers. It's a weird dynamic here, but ultimately, they clearly do not trust Alexander Mattison to be the guy. They are looking for anybody to take those reins, and Ty Chandler looks solid in relief. With this offense, with Josh Dobbs, he's an RB2. Josh Dobbs has them playing well in his second start. They're going to get Justin Jefferson back. This offense is going to be pretty solid still, right? And if he earns 60% of the work, 55% of the work, that is RB2 territory, given the landscape across, the NFL, across Dynasty, across Fantasy in general. So Ty Chandler, if he's out there, needs to be rostered. And move number 3, we're going to go out and add Rico Dowdle. Again, we've talked about Rico Dowdle months ago. Week 4, he was mentioned on this 5 moves to make video for our members as a priority ad because he's the clear-cut handcuff to Tony Pollard. And with Tony Pollard continuing to struggle, which I don't truly understand how that's happening, but it is, Rico Dowdle has continued to see his role grow in the offense. Dowdle is a premier handcuff on an elite offense with a growing role. That is exactly who I would like to roster in Dynasty. He's available in the majority of leagues still and needs to be added immediately. If I'm going and trying to figure out, do I want him or Ty Chandler, I'm going to go and lean Ty Chandler because he's the 1A, right? Dowdle's currently working as the 1B. Even though he's in the better offense, I prefer the guy that I know is going to likely get more work each week. So that's the differentiator, but ideally, I want both. So go out, add Rico Dowdle. Going away from the waiver wire kind of stuff, we're going to turn our attention to move number 4, and that is let's sell Quentin Johnston. And we're going to sell low. I don't care, right? Addison has talked about this. I have talked about this, and I'm going to talk about it again. Quentin Johnston is not an NFL caliber wide receiver right now. The original knock was, well, he's playing with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. We can't expect him to produce. And that was fair. That was perfectly fine. And then it was, well, we can't expect him to produce with Josh Palmer and Keenan Allen, right? Which, fair, maybe not. Josh Palmer's fine. I don't think he's a world beater, but Josh Palmer's solid. Okay, get another pass. Well, now Josh Palmer goes out, and there's really no excuse anymore. He has a 10% target share in the 2 games without Josh Palmer. He is averaging 18 yards per game this season. He is on pace for just over 300 yards. What's the excuse at this point? He has to develop. Okay, great. Is there a guarantee he can do that? No, because developing and just suddenly becoming a good wide receiver is not easy. It's really easy for us to sit on our couches and say, well, he'll develop. He's working full time at this. Okay, well, that happens all the time, and players often do not turn into superstars overnight. So when I'm selling low on Quentin Johnston, it's because I don't think he's the guy this year. I don't think he magically turns it around next year. I think the value is going to continue to fall. So Quentin Johnston, if you can get a second, I'm taking it. I'm cashing out. I don't really care. Before we get to our fourth move here, guys, if you like these videos and you want an extension, you want 2 extra moves, check out the DLF YouTube membership. On top of that, you're going to get a separate video every single week exclusive to our members. You're going to get an extension on Addison's video this week for, buy, sell, trade targets ahead of the trade deadline. So check it out, guys. There's a ton of extra content there underneath the bonus content tier on the DLF YouTube membership. Check it out. And to close us out, move number 5. We are going out and we are buying Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers putting up a roughly 25% target share through the first 10 weeks of the season is great. That is the exact kind of production or exact type of usage, I should say, that you want out of a rookie wide receiver. It's not often you get that kind of stuff, right? Like last year in that 25% plus group, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. Zay Flowers happens to be on the Ravens, so the situation is slightly worse. Maybe not worse than Drake London, but it's slightly worse from a volume perspective than the other two. The fact remains he is earning freakish usage that is really left for elite wide receivers. And given the average production he's put up, right, it's not anything spectacular. He may be flying under the radar. He's not going to get bumped up in the Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Drake London tier, which I think is fair. But ultimately, I'm going to chase the usage for a rookie wide receiver. So I'm giving up a late first plus. I'm happy to do that. First in 2 seconds, a first in 2024 and, a wide receiver like a Marvin Mims or someone in that realm, I think makes a lot of sense for Zay Flowers. You may not be able to get him that cheap, but that's what I'm willing to come in at and see if somebody wants to sell because some of the hype has died down from early in the season. All right, guys, that is all I have for you. Again, if you like what we are doing here, you want more content from this channel, check out the DLF YouTube membership. As always, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.